Hi everybody, James Carnero here for ImportCompliance.com. I thought we'd take a moment today to go over something that many of you may be unfamiliar with if you're new to importing into the United States. In fact, it may be the very first contact you have with the federal government as a result of your acting as an importer. So I'm talking about the dreaded or not so dreaded request for information, CF-28. A request for information could be a bad thing depending on what you've been doing as an importer, but in the majority of situations, it's likely that an import specialist simply can't make out what you've presented to them in a customs entry declaration, and they're trying to verify if what you've declared is correct. They aren't necessarily suspicious that you've done something wrong. It may be just that they're unfamiliar with your product or who you are as an importer. In fact, sometimes it's mandatory for an import specialist to send out a CF-28 if the entry fell under a random sampling compliance measurement exam. And you won't know that necessarily unless the import specialist puts some notation on your CF-28 that lets you know. If you see some term like stratified exam or compliance measurement, then that's an excellent indication that it's part of a random sample. Another clue might be is if it seems impractical that they're asking you about a particular line item on your declaration. If it's something like a $1 box of paper clips where it's very clear what the product is and it's very low value, it doesn't make sense that they'd be wasting their time asking about that line item. That could be another indication that you're simply just caught up in a random sampling. So let's get to it. We'll talk about the different elements of the form, and as we're doing that, we'll elaborate on the purpose of the form overall. All right. So let's log in here. Okay. Well, let's get started. We're just going to go over the form at a high level, break down the different sections. We won't go into a lot of detail about some specific elements. If you have any questions, you can always contact your broker or contact us at ImportCompliance.com. We can go into more detail. The intent of this video is just to take some of the mystery out of the form, to break it down for you. So here you can see at the top, sections 1 through 10 are data elements. It's the descriptive information, so you know specifically what it is you're being asked. These are the data elements that relate to the customs entry summary 7501. So if you don't have a copy of that particular 7501, get a hold of it, dig it up somewhere, or contact your broker to get a copy so you know exactly what it is you have to respond to. You can see sections 11A and 11B. That's really just in case this is a redundant request from different customs offices. You could list the port and the date that you furnished the information already. That way you don't have to do it again. Sections 12 and 13 and 14 really those are the main sections. This is where customs is getting specific and saying, relative to this entry summary, this is what we need to know. Section 12 largely deals with valuation. Section 13 largely with classification, although there's some room for elaboration there for customs to expand the area that they're drilling down into. Because again, understand that what a customs import specialist is largely responsible for is the classification and appraisement, the valuation of the entry summary. So that's what they're focusing on. You can see 14, the officer can elaborate and put a message in there. And then you're going to reply. You're going to provide the information they're asking for. And in all likelihood, you'll have to put some sort of text in 15 to say, see the attached. This is what, or actually just spell out your answer there. You can start typing in that space and then attach additional sheets because you in all likelihood will need more room. You can see in section 16, that's where you're going to certify the information that you've provided. And 17, 18, 19, that's additional descriptive information that customs will have filled out. The name of the customs officer requesting the information, their commodity team designation, their phone number. And if you have any questions in particular, then by all means contact that customs officer so you know exactly what it is they're after. The back page gives good information. I've highlighted a couple of these parts that they're really not highlighted in the form. So let's just go through a couple of those. You've got 30 days from the date of the request to get that information to customs. It's serious business. We won't go into the details of what can or can't happen if you don't reply on time. It's a little convoluted. But you need to address this form, and hopefully you received it in time. It wasn't lost in the mail, and you're able to respond in a timely manner. It says return a copy of this form. I just highlight that to point out that it doesn't have to be a paper copy. If you have an account with customs and you use the ACE portal, you could actually receive requests for information and respond to them through that electronic portal, that internet interface. But then again, if you already have an account and you're using the ACE interface, then you already know what a CF-28 is, right? You can see definitions of keywords in block 12. That's because we'll go back to that and we'll blow it up to look into the details a little bit. But block 12 has to do with the valuation. So if you're not familiar with the terminology associated with the appraisement of imported goods, these descriptions here will help you quite a bit. Okay, so you can refer to this page. So let's go back and look at the front page. Let's blow things up a little bit here, make it easier to see. So again, 12 and 13 have to do with valuation and classification largely. And so again, on that back page, they'll provide more description of what these elements are regarding valuation. Again, we don't have the time to go into that now. Again, if you have any questions, contact your broker, contact us at ImportCompliance.com. If you need more explanation of what these elements are. 13 is the classification section largely. They also throw in here a copy of a contract. That's not really classification, although I suppose there could be some information that would give them a clue about the proper classification. But that could get more into the details of valuation, actually, if you actually provide a contract that shows the terms of sale, the risk of loss, things of that nature in the contract. But largely, they're trying to find out what the classification is. And then here you'll see that here's a catch-all, section E. See item 14 below. They can just check this box and put a lot of different things here in box 14, and asking you specifically about something regarding that shipment. Okay, so I think, again, at a high level, that breaks down the different sections. You've got the identifying information for the entry summary. You've got the specific questions in 12, 13, and 14. 15 is where you're going to reply and probably attach some additional documentation. 16 is where you're going to certify what it is you've just explained. This is a government form. And then lastly, that second page, make sure you read that. That gives you the requirements and gives you some descriptive information regarding block 12 pertaining to valuation. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. Again, good luck to you as you fill out your CF-28, and we'll talk to you. Take care.